Roblox was one example of the type of virtual environments or visual environment that could become our future web or our future internet. But Bitcoin represents a similar projection into the future, or a similar kind of techno infrastructure, in that Bitcoin has a huge head start as being not just a kind of digital or cryptocurrency, but a kind of digital infrastructure unto itself. Now, for the last decade, people have been debating, well, what is Bitcoin? You know, is Bitcoin a store of value? Is Bitcoin comparable to gold? Is Bitcoin a currency that you could buy and sell stuff with? You know, or is Bitcoin a type of index, a type of investment vehicle that reflects a psychological, a cultural value that people have? I would even argue in some contexts that Bitcoin is a social movement. And that when people buy into Bitcoin, they're buying into a social movement that fights against central banks, that fights against fiat currencies. And that's why they're holding on, right? That's why, you know, instead of buying and selling Bitcoin, they're just buying Sitcoin and sitting on Bitcoin, not because it's a currency, not because it's a store of value, but because it's a political act. It's an expression of political power, and it's a kind of protest in which people are speaking against, are acting against a monetary system or a financial regime that they oppose. So if you think about it in this context, if you think about Bitcoin as a political act or a political movement, well, then maybe Bitcoin is more than that. Maybe Bitcoin's a meme. And given the recent stonks or GameStop episode and the increased insurgency or interest that we're seeing in stock markets, the idea that capital can become a meme, the idea that money is a kind of meme, is starting to gain ground and starting to have a bit of maturity. And so for our trending topic today, I kind of felt that this article, Bitcoin as a Meme and a Future, provided an interesting opportunity for us to reflect not just on the role of Bitcoin, but on the role of technology as a meme and the way it shapes our perception of the future. And the subhead for this article being, Memes Perform Magic That Turns Absurdity and Cynicism into the Kind of True Belief That Can Bend Reality. And it evokes the idea that reality itself can be hacked, and that memes are the kind of code, the kind of programming language that we can use to shape and foster either our perception of reality or a larger collective perception of reality. So I'm going to find a few random paragraphs to read here. Okay, here we go. All money is a technology of future making. We only accept a particular money as payment because we think it will be accepted tomorrow by someone else. Every transaction is a prediction and therefore an affirmation of a particular future. Even if most Americans don't trust their government or financial system, they take for granted their ability to secure and maintain money as one of the basic infrastructures of everyday life. Undoubtedly, Americans worry about retiring, about wages keeping pace with the cost of living, about real estate going underwater again. But these money anxieties work on a long or at least medium-term horizon. They don't operate in the realm of daily transactions. An Argentine friend once told me what it was like to live through the economic crisis there at the turn of the millennium. A teenager at the time, she remembered only really understanding what it meant for the peso to be in free fall when she watched her mother desperately race through the grocery store, buying up food that would be less perishable than money, trying to stay a few steps ahead of a clerk who was moving through the store putting newly inflated price labels on everything. If all money is a bet on the future, it is also a summoning of the future. When people design new money forms, it is usually with the goal of telling a new story about the future. Think of how euro notes have imaginary architecture, fictional bridges and arches intended to conjure a shared European past in order to project a shared European future. And so this suggests not just that Bitcoin is an alternative to traditional money, and not just that Bitcoin is, a distributed database that then inspires and enables things like Ethereum, things like Dogecoin, things like all sorts of other technological infrastructure. But no, it's that Bitcoin is a meme for the future. That when people think about Bitcoin, when they use Bitcoin, they are imagining a future. And that's where I think we have to be skeptical of what kind of future are they imagining. Is it a more socially just future? Is it an accessible future? Is it a human-centric future? I mean, these are questions that I often feel get swept under the rug when we talk about Bitcoin as the future of money, or when we celebrate when the price of Bitcoin goes higher and higher and